quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Tabletop Gold. My name is Lars Casteen. You're listening to a Pathfinder 2nd Edition actual play podcast where a group of friends plays the Abomination Vault's adventure path, designed by a number of people who work for a company called Paizo. I'm joined today by Robin Lange.
Good that time.
Good that time. Armet Humphreys.
Good that time.
Zoe Chernicoff.
Good that time, everyone.
Oh, and David, the Tin Man Chernicoff.
Good that time to you and all.
If it sounded like I was rushed through that intro, there's a reason. It's the beginning of March. We've got some business to do, and I'm going to toss it over to David for business to do that business that you can do.
The biz nasty.
Yeah, let's get biz nasty, shall we?
Thank you so much, Lars. And for moving through that so expediently, so now I can really slow things down.
Great.
Folks,
just like
You'd
we
love to hear it.
it's the beginning of March, and that means it's time for our annual tradition, a March bracket. All of our own loyal listeners and even disloyal listeners will remember last year's hog bracket.
Yeah, even if you've been trifling, you remember the hog bracket.
That's right. It will have left a mark.
Trifling.
This year, we will be settling the age-old question, what is the greatest starch? Here in this year's March bracket, which we're calling Starch Madness.
Starch madness.
Starch.
We started with a massive list of starches. And from there, subscribers to the Patreon and listeners to our bonus feed will have already heard, I believe by the time this comes out.
Absolutely.
Yes, the selection committee meeting to narrow that field to just the 8 entrants that we will be debating here on Starch Madness on the Roots of Ruin.
I don't even know what they are because I was in the selection committee.
That's right. The
Wild.
selection committee consisted exclusively of Lars, Armat, and myself. So Robin and Zoe will be learning the results of that selection process. Highly scientific, not at all capricious. We have 4 regions that we're going to choose from. And I will tell you what those regions are right now. They are the potatoes, the staple grains, the bread zone.
That's in quotes, right? It's the quote bread zone.
The quote unquote bread zone.
Named by Dave of Dave's Killer's Bread.
Please.
Dave's Killer's Bread. Well, whatever it is. That guy.
That
Yeah.
cool guy with the guitar.
It's late. And the final region, the final bracket, sub bracket is the wild card sub bracket. So before we get into it, the question for the group is, we will be debating 2 matchups tonight. Do you want to know all 8 entrants here, or do you just want me to reveal to you what we're debating as we go along?
Ooh, roll them out. I like one by one. I
Roll
like
out?
that we
Okay.
don't see what's coming.
Oh,
Dig it.
I guess I'll go with follow along.
Oh,
with Zoe.
so Robin, you were saying tell me all of them, and Zoe is saying tell me only
Tell
one
us
of them.
half of them.
I mean, how can I fill out my bracket if I don't know the whole bracket?
Wait a minute. Are you placing bets on this as well as participating in it? That's not okay.
That's in,
not anything
it's
you're
in her
allowed to do.
special Patreon. She's got the.
It's my side Patreon.
That's her sideline Patreon. The tabletop gold betting, the table bets.
That's the rose zone. Thank you very much.
Most of the major odds makers frown upon people who have votes also wagering on those
They don't
same
let
things.
the Super Bowl judges put a
the
little
Super
cash on
Bowl
the side.
Judges? What are you talking about?
Referees. I
The writers,
I
the
sports
people
a lot,
who write the Super
clearly.
Bowl.
number one in points.
It's usually the one that matters, interestingly enough.
I always forget how hard hosting is until I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's a big pain in the ass, isn't
All
it?
these
David?
unruly folks.
Dealing with
Cats
us is
that
hurting.
need to be herded.
Cats.
Mind
Oh,
meld.
Armat, we are in sync today.
We will do the top seed in the staple grains sub-bracket. Corn on the cob facing off against the number 2 seed in the potatoes bracket,
Huh?
French fries.
Ooh.
We have corn on the cob versus French fries.
This
And-
is a hell of a matchup.
Well, the thing is, when you pre-narrow it to 8, all of them are a hell of a matchup, with a couple of exceptions, which we'll get to probably, which we'll get to next week. So yeah, here we are. Corn on the cob, French fries, 2 absolute titans of the world of starches. And let's start this one out.
Let's starch this one off.
Let's starch this one off. Let's starch it off with Lars. Lars, in the matchup of corn on the cob against French fries.
Okay.
How say you?
So corn on the cob it's either good or it's bad, right? And I don't want to consider bad corn on the cob. Sometimes you go to a place and you get like a soggy, sort of shriveled, weird, wet
Right,
corn on the
boiled
cob.
for like 30 minutes.
Just like incompetently done. And I think holding that against the dish is sort of unfair. I don't think it's like in the spirit of, like, that's not a high competitive corn, right? Whereas French fries, there are so many facets, so many different types of French fries. And let's just be real for a second as I make this argument. And you don't need to agree with this, but this is how I feel. A lot of French fries are bad. Like a lot of French fries are total horseshit. And maybe you disagree about what kind. Maybe you like curly fries. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like a wedge. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like crinkle cut fries. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like steak cut. Maybe you like shoestring. But maybe you like double fried. Like there
How
are.
about waffle cut?
Did I say a waffle cut? I mean, right, exactly. But just for instance, maybe you think that's bad. Maybe you think it's good. So like the list of French fries that I enjoy is actually relatively short. There are a lot of different. I don't want to eat a steak fry, for instance. Like I don't want that trash. Get it off of my plate and put it in the garbage where trash belongs, is what I'm trying to say. And given that, it's just like I've had so many negative French fry experiences. French fries are great, obviously, but I have to put my vote in for corn on the cob.
So Lars is stipulating that it is the good version of corn on the cob that we are judging, but it could be the bad version of French fries, and therefore he prefers corn on the cob.
I'm not saying the bad version of French fries. I'm saying one of the different varieties of French fries.
Done well, but that is not your preference.
Exactly.
I get you. Well, I think it's a nice stipulation, I think. Let's assume that we're talking about a well-executed version of the thing. I mean, I guess, we can see what comes a little later with some of these, but we have an initial incorrect vote for corn on the cob. Let's move to Robin. What say you? Where does your preference come down between corn on the cob versus French fries?
Lars,
Yeah, what's up?
I know where you live. I know where you
Yeah.
sleep. I'm coming for you. There is no such thing as a bad French fry. All French fries are the perfect food. It is the perfect food. 110% every time. French fries.
Robin, if you come over to my house, please bring me a corn on the cob so I can enjoy a delightful.
I will shove it down your face.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that
This
escalated
is-
quickly.
Well, and Robin saves that up all day.
This
while
is why we
she's
do a
teaching our
top
youth.
16. Then we can ease into this.
All right. So far,
Sorry,
we-
I have feelings about French fries.
No, I couldn't.
So
I
we
couldn't
learned.
possibly have told
That's
that.
interesting. I wonder what they are. Well, we have thankfully counterbalanced Lars's opinion with a correct one, and so we are
This is-
tied up 1-1. I'm just trying to be objective
No,
as
are
I
you?
summarize. What's happening?
He didn't say
Let's,
he had to succeed at that.
let's move to
Right.
Armat Humphreys. Armat, where do you come down on the age-old face-off of corn on the cob versus French fries?
Yeah, to me, this is no contest. Corn on the cob gets stuck in between my teeth. French fries all day, every day. Except for steak frites. Those are the thick cut ones, right?
Yeah.
Those are hot garbage, and I don't like them.
Well, steak frite that's just a steak dish with the thin cut fries.
Right.
Well, I'm in
Versus
for
steak
that.
Steak
fries.
fries.
Steak cut fries.
Yeah. How dare you, Armat?
Have a roughly the ratio of like a 2x4, right? Like
I
they're
have a
kinda
feeling
wide,
Armat
but-
actually loves steak frite.
And I do, in fact, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're always soggy. They're never like crispy, which defeats the entire purpose of a French fry, in my humble opinion. Anyway, French fries still win.
All right. So a second vote for French fries. That moves us now to Zoe. I think I might have a guess because I have known you for 20 years, but let's see where you come down on corn on the cob versus French fries.
I think that maybe in some ways, dynamics of our marriage could be summed up by the fact that we're on different sides of this issue. I'm team corn. Give me a really good fresh. When we lived in California in Oakland, there was a farmer's market in the summer where they would pick the corn that morning and bring it, and then you'd boil it for like 30 seconds and eat so much butter on that, and like, oh my gosh, what is better in life?
That sounds so good.
Right? So I'm team corn on the cob.
And Zoe, given that David's going to vote for corn on the cob also, I think that we've got this
yeah,
one
we
locked
just
up.
won. That's
Well,
right.
I'm just thinking about this one farmer's market we used to go to where they would pick the French fries that morning. You could fry them up in like 30 seconds. No, this was a heck of a place to start.
Absolutely.
Because I would argue. Well, we'll see as it unfolds. It's hard to imagine a stronger number 2 seed than French fries. Like, French fries are absolutely amazing, but as you'll see, the potatoes bracket has some real heavy hitters, folks. I will cast the deciding vote for French fries. French fries are probably my favorite food. Definitely a perfect food. This is not really a contest.
What?
The one thing that corn on the cob has going for it above French fries is that it has a lot of butter on it. But guess what? You can also butter French fries. There, I said.
Oh my
Cover them
God.
with gravy. Cover them with chili.
Getting a little hot under the collar over
So
here.
I am selecting and putting in boldface
Woohoo!
the 2 seed from the potatoes region, French fries, which will be moving on to the final 4
Messed up.
in 2 weeks' time.
I know I had fighting words, but I do want to at least say, like, fresh corn on the cob is delicious. There's no question.
It's too late.
It is lovely,
It's-
but
it's too late. Let's keep
but no, I'm not a terrible monster, but French fries are the perfect food.
Yeah, French fries wins. Corn on the cob is amazing. I'm probably going to eat it right after this because it's my favorite food. Okay. We will now move to our second matchup here in the first installment of 2024's Starch Madness, which is, of course, the number 2 seed in the stable grains region, steamed rice,
Mhm.
up against the number 1 seed in the potatoes region, mashed potatoes.
Oh wow, above French fries. Interesting.
Robin, how would you choose? How do you vote between steamed rice and mashed potatoes?
This is a harder one for me, honestly.
It's really hard. Yeah.
Because mashed potatoes, again, I mean, I think my issue is I'm not Irish, but there is no such thing as a bad potato, pretty much. Mashed potatoes are like the best food during the holidays.
Yeah.
But rice is also my go-to. I could eat rice every single day. I am constantly making rice, and you can do so much with it. So I think I actually have to go for rice.
Okay, steamed rice takes the first vote here, and you know, I follow that. Like, when you have mashed potatoes, it sounds like you really love them, but that is relatively seldom versus something that you like lean on day to day. It's like a workhorse versus show horse.
I think that's kind of where I'm with that, because like with the corn, a lovely piece of corn during the summer is great. Do I want corn every single day in the winter? God, no, it's going to be mealy and awful.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so we have an initial vote from Robin for steamed rice, and so we'll move to Armat. Armat, what do you make of the matchup between steamed rice and mashed potatoes?
Well, I'm an Idaho boy, so I got to go mashed potatoes. I will eat potatoes until they kill me, which they probably will, given the way heart disease works in America.
Okay.
Shout out to heart disease in America. By the
Oh,
way.
yes.
It doesn't
Take
get
out
enough.
the heart disease.
I cannot believe I did not mention the sponsor of Starch Madness is in fact heart disease. So big, huge shout out to heart disease.
Really trying to up its public image.
Thank you so much to current sponsor, heart disease. All right, so 1 vote apiece for mashed potatoes and steamed rice as we move to Zoe. Again, I think I have a guess about where Zoe's going to net out on this one, but baby, surprise me all the time, especially on this show. I have to
That's
say.
right. For me, I think what I'm learning about myself is if you can, like, if the desired common state of it is you melt a lot of butter on it, I'm into it. So I'm team mashed potatoes.
All right, so 2-1 in favor of mashed potat. Moving to Lars. Lars, what do you make of it when mashed potatoes are faced off against steamed rice?
Rice is it's a medium, right? Like rice is a thing that stuff happens to, and then you're like, yeah, there was rice in that. Mashed potatoes is phenomenal. Mashed potatoes is the star of the show. Mashed potatoes shames like actual non-starched foods. Like you'll get a fish with some mashed potato on the side, and you'll be like, yeah, the fish was fine. But how about those potatoes, right? I made mashed potatoes last night. They're incredibly easy to make, and you do it, and it's awesome. It's the best. I love mashed potatoes. Number one. Number one. Thank you.
Okay. Very passionately argued. What is your vote?
Oh, great question. I'm gonna vote for mashed potatoes.
Okay, all right. So that's a third vote for mashed potatoes, rendering rendering the decision. So mashed potatoes.
What would you vote for?
This is a real toss up for me. I do love mashed potatoes.
I don't sound like a man who loves mashed potatoes.
I do love.
I would have said steamed rice until Lars put it the way that he was, because what I actually associate with steamed rice is all of the other wonderful things that happen to it, and that it carries along. And I can appreciate that. It also, like, rice feeds just such a staggering proportion of humanity.
It's true.
And so tip of the cap to that. So yeah, whatever, I'll say rice, but it doesn't matter anyway. So we have our 2 winners from this first installment of Starch Madness that will be moving on to the Final 4 in 2 weeks' time. Those are the top 2 seeds in the potatoes sub-bracket, mashed potatoes and French fries. Against whom will they be facing off? We will learn that next week as we conclude our second installment of Starch Madness, brought to you by heart disease. And back to you, Lars, to do whatever else it is we do here.
Yeah. Well, we're just going to do this real quick. We're already kind of running behind schedule, but
What?
So this is episode 140. We're breaking off a new 5. I'm just going to hit a real quick, let you know what's going on around these parts kind of deal. Here's what's going on. If you like this show, if you enjoy what we're doing, I would love it. We would all love it if you were to head on over to our Patreon and throw us a little support. There are all kinds of different tiers that you can do to help support us, to help keep the show going, but also to get access to tons of great premium content, including episodes of The Gold Mine, our behind the scenes sort of companion show that goes along with this very podcast. Really fun conversations, listener emails, all kinds of great stuff. If you haven't heard The Gold Mine and you like this show, you're going to love it. We also have specials coming out every other week. These are spoiler-free shows that feature no information about the game in this podcast that are perfect for you if you haven't caught up yet. We recently did an episode of our tier list show, ranking various mass market kids games. Is Monopoly D tier? Is Operation C tier? Who's to say? We're to say. Listen to our show. An episode of Film Debuff recently. Film Debuff is our movie commentary show. We talked about the Dungeons and Dragons movie from the year 2000 with Jeremy Irons. That movie is Well, you're going to have to listen to the show to find out how we feel about
Good
it.
Cliffy. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. And just last Friday, we put out the selection committee, the Starch Madness run-up, the season of these various starches. We had 32, like 40-some starches in that episode that got whittled down to the 8th you're hearing in this tournament. If you want to hear how that happened, you got to go to Patreon. And that's it. It's super simple. $5 gets you audio, $10 gets you video, and there are tiers of support above and below that, depending on what fits into your budget for however you want to support our show. So that's the story. Patreon.com/tabletopgold. And now, let's get into it. Let's play our game. Your progress through the prison run by the devils on the 7th floor of the Abomination vaults has been difficult but steady. You've faced the most coordinated defenses you've yet seen in the dungeons below Gauntlet, perhaps unsurprising for the group hired to serve as Belcora Harovex's army. All that stands between you and Euravian, the contract devil who runs this prison, is a door featuring an enormous red pentagram. To open this door, you've surmised that you'll need to find 5 pieces of Euravian's shattered amulet key. Good thing, you have already recovered 3 of these 5 pieces. A quick stop back in the town of Otari has you making preparations for one final push into the devil's territory to see if you can finally confront Euravian and find a new path deeper into the depths. It's a new month, everybody. It's the 1st of Erastus. It's an Oath Day. It's a beautiful, breezy day today. A far cry from the over 100-degree temperatures that you saw last week. The high today is around 75 degrees. It's around 8 o'clock in the morning when you wake up prepared to head back into the dungeons below Gauntlet. You have some time to do a little bit of shopping, maybe get some things that might be helpful to you, sell some things that you don't need anymore. And then you're able to meet up on the bridge in front of Crook's Nook for another late morning breakfast. Is 8 o'clock late morning?
For Mag,
My
for
sleep
sure.
schedule
Morning.
is real messed up these days. For Mag it is. Mag has been up for a while by 8.
Oh yeah, definitely. Mag is an early riser.
So, the 4 of you convene. People around town, as they see you, some of them might make a face at you, suggesting that they are afraid of the army being raised nearby. Some of them maybe give you a thumbs up and just whisper the word Star Watch at you, excited that the elite law enforcement group from the city of Absalom is potentially going to come here to assist with the resolving the troubles at Gauntlet. But aside from that, it's just another normal morning as you look out at the inner sea as ships dock and undock from the waterfront. What would you like to do?
I think Istin would probably, be yawning, and he's not a morning person, sort of the opposite of Mag. And try and get a snook and then maybe head back to the dungeon.
Yeah, I think Trill's definitely kind of thinking like, okay, it's we got our rest, we got Starwatch coming, we got some work to do. Let's see if we can get the last two parts of this key.
Yeah. Istin's yawning. Absolutely. I could use a coffee too. Stayed up too late looking at my spell list.
Mag pulls 4 coffees out of the bag of holding.
Oh, you're amazing.
And like
Mag.
a little, some sort of woven, I don't know, imagining it's got like a jute holder that has 4
I love
little
this
rings
koozie.
in it. And, oh, thanks. Yeah, I picked it up at Colino's last time I was place.
Oh, great decision. It's still so hot, you know? It's like crazy hot.
It has an enchantment of some kind, I believe, that retains heat at a preferred temperature.
You don't say. That's fascinating. I almost want to take it apart, but I don't. I'm not gonna, because I like my coffee hot.
There might be lead inside of it.
Don't start unwinding that with your nervous fingers. I don't
Ao
want it to die
belches loudly. Having polished off an entire coffee in the time this discussion's been going on.
Right, her eyes are pulsing gold.
A local resident approaches just before Ao burps and is like, Star Wars, and then the burp happens and they're like, ah! And they back off and like, and nod and move away quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Mag is certainly inclined to return to the dungeon. We needed the rest to be able to be effective up there. She will not be deterred. I guess we have been discussing some supply upgrades in order to set us up to be a little, in addition to getting spell slots back and things like that, but to try to equip ourselves better for when we get back to the dungeon.
Yeah, so we got some of that happening off camera. So we're all set on that front. One thing I should say, this is a new 5, so we have a new set of hero points and hero point cards for people to draw from.
Cool.
So after you have time to meet up and shop and prepare, the 4 of you head back out of town on this beautiful, breezy day towards the more somber environs of the dungeons below Gauntlet. So, I have a question for you. It's a simple question.
Probably steamed rice, but it's close.
Y'all ready for this?
Butter.
Butter was the answer to my question. Thank you.
And we'll pick up from there next time.
Week.
Happy to help y'all.
Oof,
So
it's nice when we nail it like that.
Yeah. Feels
So
good.
when you spoke to the imp Jek yesterday, she mentioned that the two, she had leads on 2 pieces of this amulet. I don't know if the 4 of you recall what those are, if you would like a little bit of me teeing that up for you. But would you like to pursue one of those, or would you like to just sort of explore, or would you like to do something else? My question is basically, where would you like to start from?
Well, actually, I think so. Sargalong, we know, is an aquatic devil. That was one of the names that was given.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
So I think someone recalled knowledge on that to kind of tell us that it was there to sabotage the flesh warpers, or that it was an aquatic devil, but it was sent to sabotage the flesh warpers. So I'm wondering, rather than going to the devil level, should we go to the level before? Would it be, if it's an aquatic devil, would it be maybe near the water where the hydras were? Because that's also the same. That's the same level as the flesh warpers.
As soon as there was mention of the aquatic devil, my mind went to the hydras as well. There could also be more happening on this level.
Right, there's places we haven't been.
Yes, there's places we haven't been, one of which could, I suppose, be a wet place. So, I'm up for going and fighting some hydras. It is possible that we will be disappointed at the end because we will have just fought some hydras. And that's it.
Is it worth maybe just like trying to poke our head in there and see what we can see with now that we're looking with more intent?
Oh, okay. So and there's a place to observe the hydras from inside the dungeon, right? Wasn't there one of those enchanted wall things where you could stand inside and look through the rock and see down there?
That was where we fought our first Sugathi, I believe.
Do we have a spyglass or something we could do, like some
water?
Some mega. No, I mean, we're going to stand above it and we're going to look around
Yeah.
and see if there's a devil, right? Or are we just going to go and pop around?
I think maybe in the faintest reaches of Mag's mind, you have a memory of a spyglass that you got from Mr. Beak that you maybe immediately sold. I think so. Maybe. I don't know. I think there was a spyglass in
Well,
there.
look, at least Haplo didn't die for nothing. Got us, 3-4 gold?
Exactly.
And you get to split his share of the cut, So
That's true.
That's right.
You're looking at an extra 1, maybe even 2 gold there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it sounds as though you are heading to the 6th floor below Gauntlet. The way that you can get down there, if you want to get to where that window is down the central staircase. That large circular chamber that is just underneath Gauntlet, that is just above whatever it is that Gauntlet draws its energy from. But you are able to get to that 6th floor landing pretty easily. And you are correct that there is this window made of enchanted see-through stone here on this landing that also features the body of a Sugathi and the body of a Grothlet left over from a combat encounter here maybe a week ago. What would you like to do?
Wait, a week ago?
I think so. Close to that.
That's wild.
Time flies.
Yeah.
It does.
I was enjoying looking over the map of this level. It's really big and cool. Fun remembering all that we did here.
Right, this has the huge arena in it, and also Jafaki's giant office, which is on the other side of that crazy room with the glass, with the retractable glass, with the sound.
So, yeah, the 4 of you are standing here on this brass plate, reminiscing about your past exploits here on the 6th floor below Gauntlet. There are 2 doors leading out of this room. The eastern door, leads to an enclosed walkway. Presumably the Sugathis would have used this. It's a walkway behind more of this transparent stone that lets people gaze out onto the pond that these hydras are in. If you look out the window that is in this room now, you see that there are 2 hydras in the pond a short distance away from you. It looks as though they are asleep. The door to the west, leads to a potential rocky walkway that leads more directly into the cavern. So the question is, do you want to go to the east and check out this walkway, or do you want to go to the west and go into the cavern itself?
I'm thinking walkway. I feel like we'd be like a little tentative, right? We're trying to see what we can learn.
Yeah,
That's
let's go try to see if there's a devil.
Okay.
Oh, devil!
Any devils in here?
I see. So we're being that amount of tentative.
Sargalon!
You spend about 15 minutes walking around this walkway, and you get a good view as you step out onto this walkway of the pond containing those 2 hydras, and you also get a view of water as it wraps around this natural cavern extending far to the southeast. This natural cavern extends all around the edges of the Sugathi territory that you explored previously, all of it safely behind this sort of magical plexiglass. And you find no pathway into the cave itself, but you are able to get a very good look at the hydras as they sleep in the pond.
Here's a silly question. Would they be impersonating a hydra, do you think?
And devils impersonate things?
I don't know. Can Istin make a recall knowledge to see if he knows anything about that?
Yeah, give me a blind religion check, please.
You got it.
Would Trill's devil lore help?
Oh, yeah. Trill will also do a devil lore check then, see what else she can remember.
Could Mag's swamp lore help from the Hydra? No, this is about devils. That doesn't make sense.
I like swamp lore. Give me swamp lore. This is an aquatic devil. Perhaps one of these devils worked their way into a swamp. If you're trying to consider, would this creature mimic a hydra?
If anyone were looking at Ao while they're all trying to figure out what's going on, they'd see her face kind of turning like a little bit Hydra-like as she contemplates the idea of acting like a Hydra.
Okay, so let me just show you some art of what this Hydra-like face looks like.
They're so beautiful.
I got my bite attack.
They have many, many teeth.
Oh my gosh, it's a Hydra rattlesnake?
Yeah, it is. It's cool. This art has a Hydra with 5 heads, this aquatic sort of snake-like dragon thing with long ears in the shape of bat wings and a fierce-looking rattle at the far end.
But no arms, so it feels more wyverny than Greek Hydra-y.
Yes.
Or wyvern?
I've always said wyvern, but I'm a dork, so don't take that seriously. So the three of you consider whether a Sarglagon would potentially mimic a Hydra, and you don't have that doesn't seem, none of you have the sense that makes all that much sense. But you do get a nice moment in this sort of eerie feeling of being safely behind stone. You're inside looking outside from these large floor-to-ceiling transparent stone walls. And that's about what you're able to learn from heading off in this direction.
Ooh, here's a question. The ruby that lets us cast locate, can that have us locate like a devil?
No, it can only locate an object. So I can cast it to locate another one of the fifths of that key.
Oh, that's a great
and it's going to lead us to the closest one. However, it feels like I'm not 100% sure that if we're not on the same level as one, if it's actually going to lead us up or down the stairs then to the correct spot.
The spell will pull you up or down if it needs to pull you up or down.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, maybe we could walk as close as we can to the hydras and then cast it. And
it takes 10 minutes, so it might make more sense actually doing it in that overlook area, which feels a little bit safer than hanging out by the hydras for 10 minutes without being sure.
I mean, we don't need to walk. I was not clear in what I didn't mean. Let's walk out into the open and wade into the water and do it. I just meant whatever point on this walkway thing that we're at that gets closest to them. Although now that you mention it, we could build a contraption and could with some pulleys, Mag could lower Trill down. You know,
I don't need to be this close to them.
It's if you see, it's the same sort of knots that they use in our mug cup.
This isn't how the magic works.
And Iston's still drinking at his coffee and be like, it really is fascinating. Damn fine cup of coffee.
Nice.
Do you think how there's that civet coffee where you wait for the ferrets to eat the coffee beans and poop it out?
Chris got that for Christmas this year from a secret snowflake.
Wow, how was
it? A civet?
The civet coffee. And it is technically vegan because it's harvested wild. It's not farmed from the animal.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I love the idea that the black cat that's been pawing at your door has just been a feral civet the entire time.
I just want to give you some coffee.
Enormous.
But my question is, do you think that coffee that has been brewed in an extra dimensional space within a bag of holding has a similar sort of je ne sais quoi due to the ambience in which it has been processed, much like the digestive tract of a civet? It's a question.
For sure.
If you're looking for a place to cast this spell from the wand left within Isand Kalir's ruby, there's a platform right in front of where the hydras are that seems like it would be a perfect place to do such a thing.
So Trill pulls out the wand, and she begins casting locate. And as she does so, the kind of tip of the wand, which still has that kind of look of the ruby a bit, starts glowing red. This energy is coming out of it. She doesn't really have the ribbons in her hair because she's got the big wig on, but the edges of the wig are kind of rippling with the energy coming off of this wand as she's casting the locate spell.
And after spending 10 minutes doing that, the wand pulls Trill with great force, yanks her straight into the plexiglass, straight into this magical, transparent stone right in front of her, as though it is trying to pull her towards the hydras that are sleeping nearby.
Oh, boy.
What do you think it means?
I don't know.
I think the Sargolon's over here with them.
Should we just ask it if it's a devil? I mean, can you do that? Like, under infernal contract, is it required to tell you if it's a devil?
Guess it would depend on if it was a contract term.
Iston, why don't you go ask?
All right, great. I think the entrance is just over here. And he starts striding towards the west.
So you walk across this main central circular chamber to a door that you left open when you were here before. And that door leads to a pathway that is roughly made from stones that have been piled up to form a stairway leading to a platform about 15 feet away from you. And then the natural cavern that this leads to extends and turns away from you towards the north.
Can I just ask real quick before we go and tap these things on the shoulder and I ask them if they're devils? What, if anything, do we know about hydras? Like, and I'm David is wondering, and so maybe what I'm asking is, would Mag know this too, or would Mag be wondering the same thing? Like, I think of a hydra as something that's got many heads. Every time you chop off a head, it grows back, or two grow back, or whatever. So the way that Hercules dealt with this was you cut it off and you immediately burn the stump so that the heads can't grow back. But took him a while to figure that out, and there was some, he lost a couple of hit points before he did. So, like, is like how to deal with a hydra a known thing, and is it the same as in that myth, or am I just importing sort of metagamed extra universe knowledge onto this thing?
Well, you're definitely doing that, but you can recall knowledge to see if Mag knows that.
We could also go back to town, go to Carl's bookstore, and get a How to Deal with a Hydra book, right?
Yeah.
So you've got hydras.
Hydras for dummies.
How to train your hydra.
So Mag calls on her knowledge of things that live in the swamp, and I think that that's applicable for a hydra. And yes, David, what Mag knows is similar to what you know. You know that hydras have 5 heads, and if they are severed, that head can regrow, but that you can prevent that regrowth by burning the stump left behind with either acid or fire, which cauterizes it. There are extra sort of gameplay specific things of like you have to target a stump, et cetera, but you're on the right track.
Okay. And casters, Iston has access to a fair amount of fire. Trill has access to some acid.
Yeah.
We have some acid sitting in the bag of holding, so maybe Mag will put a couple of those little things of acid on her belt or whatever, so they're easier to get to. I mean, I have other, like, I have more metagaming questions about this, but I'll keep them to myself. Like if I do the slashing and someone else does the burning, like, is that not soon enough? I guess if the Hydra goes in between, obviously it would regrow its thing. But if they're on consecutive, if 24 seconds goes by, I don't know. It's hard to turn off my brain, guys.
All I'll say to that is, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Come on, didn't you watch The Adventures of Hercules as a kid? Come on, we got this.
Yeah. For some reason, this whole thing with the cavern and the wandering around and it's giving me really Johnny Quest vibes, even though.
Yeah, sure.
I love that show so much. That was
So
my favorite.
anyway, I never had to cauterize a Hydra stump that I recall.
Oh, I bet you they did.
No, they probably did. Yeah, they probably did.
Haji came out with a whole thing about in the trials of Hercules. This is he cited his sources. He knew exactly what to do.
Man, it just occurred to me, Johnny Quest and Haji had a real Huck and Jim thing going on, didn't they? Johnny Quest just wandering around getting into trouble and Haji just bailing him out time after time.
Oh, without Haji, Johnny's adventures would have been quite short-lived, I think. I think Haji did a lot of the heavy lifting in that particular duo.
In the real adventures, Haji was still just as smart, but he was also hot.
Oh.
When they came out
That's
in the 90s.
cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
The Real Adventures. They redid the cartoon, and they were like, in real life, Haji was super hot, so we have to fix this one bit of like messed up.
Yeah.
They were Real
continuity.
Adventures because they did a lot of stuff in VR.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was terrible. Speaking of terrible, this cavern that you're stepping into is dark, dank, and lichen covers the walls as you step down these natural stairs. And it's humid, it's cold, and it smells bad. Not in any particular way. I just think nature smells bad. So that's sort of what
Like
we're talking
fish in a
about here.
cave, bad.
Like it smells like a fish in a cave. But that's what happens that's what you sense as you walk into this cavern and round the corner. And as you continue rounding the corner, find yourselves in a slightly more open cavern, moss covering the walls. There's the ceiling here, this natural ceiling is about 30 feet up above you. And as you continue into this cavern, you see this rounded window that you were just looking out a few minutes ago, about 15 feet above the floor. So you're gazing up now at where you were just looking through into the cavern. As you continue walking, you find yourselves on the shores of this pond. You see these two hydras, their heads resting against the surface of the water, noses in the air, as though they are asleep.
They're beautiful.
Hey, Mac, I've got a doozy of a spell prepared. So let me go before you, huh?
Yes. Sounds good.
Awesome. High five, real quick. Very quiet.
No,
We'll do a soft one.
Go.
It's going to be a real soft high five.
Mag takes a large step back from Iston and pantomimes a high five in the air.
And Iston feels Ao's mage hand give him a very quiet high five.
Oh, Ao, way to get in on it. I love it.
Dun-na-na. Dun-na-na.
We hate high fives.
What
That
can-
shit is so dorky. Stop.
What, if anything, can Mag tell about the depth of the water? From where
Mag
we're
looks down
standing?
into the water, and it looks like at its deepest point, it's crystal clear, right? Like this water, like a lot of geological water features, is very clean, very easy to see through water. And you can see about 15 feet down the floor of this pond seems to be.
Okay.
The pond itself is below a number of stalactites that come down off of the ceiling above you. Mag is able to look down, see the bottom of the pond, and look up, and you see that there are square shafts cut into the ceiling above. If you recall, you
I
had
remember
there was a fight against these strange creatures that were trying to knock you into these pits that would have brought you down here. You can see the lower side of those pits now, and that's what you see.
Trill whispers to Mag and Iston.
So, one of us, maybe one of you guys, you're the ones who are going to get close if we have to fight. Hold on to that. I think we still have that sea touch elixir.
Oh.
Because we got Sea Touch Elixir a long time ago, like back on level 3 or something. And that's the one that gives you these webbed, like it webs your hands essentially, so you get a faster swim speed.
Oh, yeah, true. I have a feat for this. I took breath control, which lets me hold my breath for something like 20 or 25, maybe 25 times longer than usual.
It's very good. It's one of those feats that just like flips the switch on, like you can not worry about breath.
Yeah.
If you don't
I
want
think
to.
we also have bottled air.
We do have some bottled air in the bag of holding. Maybe Mag would clip that to her belt as well, since she's anticipating swimming out after this thing. But
Or should we give it to Iston, or is Iston planning on going in?
well, Iston, you can do stuff from range, yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll be your artillery captain.
We still have 2 acid flasks in the bag of holding. Is someone want to put that in their inventory?
I had a question because one of the spells I was going to use, I might as well tell you what it is. It's in large. I thought it'd make Mag huge. Or, well,
I don't
large,
see why you
technically.
That sounds amazing.
Yes. Make me big, make me fly. I love this game.
Big flying mag.
But I think it has the polymorph trait, which someone can only be under the effect of one polymorph trait at a time. So I don't think it would stack with the C touch. So it's sort of either we do the C touch or we do this, or
well, but
which is tragic because an enormous aquatic mag is a truly terrifying thought.
I was joking, but should I be flying? Like,
oh,
I could just fly in and bop them from the air, right?
That.
yeah.
Or you could swim and someone else could fly?
Ooh, okay. Yep.
I don't know who that is because all the rest of us like to stay the fuck away from a fight. But
Iston, do you want to float around and rain death from the skies?
let's go get Ogriel. I'm sure
you
he's...
had me at rain death from the skies.
Flying ghoul.
Oh my gosh, and Ogriel would be so underleveled for this now. He was great back in level 2. I don't know about here.
You'd make a great Hydra snack.
He somehow gets eaten by all 5 Hydra heads.
I don't have anything that does slashing damage anymore. That was an oversight.
So, what are we doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna drink the ocean thing and make me fly later or whatever if we need to. I want to use some new toys. Famous last words.
Can we all have 100 ballast points since we're using, a sea potion?
Yarr.
Okay, so you drink this briny potion, and Mag looks down and sees that her fingers are now webbed. There's webbing between each of her fingers and her toes also. If she weren't wearing boots, you would notice that. That gives you a swim speed of 20 feet for 10 minutes. What do you do next?
Swim?
Just start calling out for the Sargalon.
Yeah, that was what I was going to suggest.
Is Trill's wand, is it still kind of like pulling her towards the water?
If you're continuing to sustain it, yeah, I will warn you that if these hydras are asleep, that might start waking them up.
Right,
if you
because
continue
it's
doing
like,
that.
locate. It's like the dumbest thing that wands are loud to me.
I love it. I think it's the best. I disagree.
Of course you like it. No, I guess she wouldn't have, because she doesn't want to piss off the hydras if she doesn't have to.
I think maybe the way to try and start this little encounter is for Mag to edge over along the bank to try and get to the far side of them, so that we might end up with a little bit of flanking kind of situation.
I wonder if Trill would be able to kind of assist with a performance check of playing soothing lullaby music to try and keep them sleeping.
Keep them asleep.
Ao's hiding, by the way. Or around a corner.
Got
It's
it.
very hard for me to tell what's going on.
Can I have a performance check from Trill, please, to aid in whatever check Mag is going to make eventually?
So that was a 31.
That's a critical success,
Okay.
which means that Mag is going to get a +3 to her next check.
So I think what Mag wants to do is moving over to, we start on the west side of this large chamber, so moving all the way over to the east. And I think what Mag would try to do is slip into the water and swim up close to it, and maybe be trying to get the jump on it from the far side, which could set up flanking. I imagine that would require stealth.
Yeah.
If there's a way to do it with athletics, is this something where body control would help, or is it mostly just about the ability to kind of steal sneakily?
I think it makes sense if you want to try to swim without making too much splashing. I think athletics seems like a reasonable thing to do.
Okay. Well, I would certainly try to do that.
And you get a +3 to this check, thanks to Trill.
Ah, It's a terrible roll. It's only a 5 on the die. That's a 23. And then with the +3 becomes a 26.
Okay. So Mag is able to silently slip into the water, and you feel your webbed fingertips and your feet are helping you move gracefully into the water as you're able to slip around this sleeping hydra. You hear the sound of the water lapping gently against the rock wall of this cavern as you sneak around the edge of the room.
Well, I don't know about y'all, but it seems like it's probably time for Mag to bash the Hydra. Yeah?
Do we need to bash the Hydra? Because remember, we're looking for the devil.
Oh, can Mag see any rubies over here? Any key pieces?
You look down into the water, and you just see darkness below you from here. You don't have a light source on you. And the water looks dark beneath you, so you don't see anything down there.
Does can I turn the Wayfinder on and shine
Absolutely.
it down below? Okay, let's do that.
You turn the Wayfinder on, and the light shines down below you, and there are some shadows underneath you cast by the Wayfinder, but you don't see anything down there.
All right, how about swimming along the northern edge here, maybe into the area in between the Hydras, or along the northern edge to the other side, casting around, turning the Wayfinder down into the water, looking for a glint of ruby.
Yeah, you don't see it.
It does look like there's more water past them, right? The lake seems to go on.
I think we looked at
To
it. We walked past down it through the plexiglass tunnel.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there
And we
might be
didn't
something
see
under the water
anything.
that we didn't see.
Oh, that could be. Yeah.
Well,
Could AO use her mage hand to probe around and see if it feels any sort of ruby under the water?
Sure. I think in order to do that, you're going to need to get a little bit closer to the edge of the water to get in range.
You're just trying to kill me.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, at least he's honest.
it's a GM's job.
He sneaks up along the wall, and then there's like a sort of little divot between rock and the plexiglass that she sort of ducks into and sends her mage hand, quietly skittering down into the water to see if she can feel anything.
So you send the mage hand down. And let's just say that as the mage hand slips underwater, it sends a faint ripple along the surface of the water, and the head of the Hydra nearest Mag just sort of turns slowly upside down, sort of rotates all the way around.
Like a cat.
Like a cat that is no longer alive. And you realize that these Hydras are dead.
Oh.
Yo.
What?
And the hand hits something deep below the surface of the water, and Mag starts feeling this churning motion
Uh-oh.
in the water underneath you.
Should have done this before you went in.
And then
Whoa.
suddenly bursting up out of the water is this 20-foot long, iridescent, beautifully colored blue and purple snake thing with the face of like a lamprey eel, just barbs of teeth coming out of its mouth, out of its gums. 2 eyes on either side of its broad head, right in front of goat horns swinging forward along its face. And it charges up out of the water like splash, like a dolphin.
Like Willy in the movie Free Willy.
Like a Cthulhu-esque mermaid?
Does that trigger an attack of opportunity?
And as it
No, 'cause I don't have names
bursts out of the
anymore.
water,
Strike, yeah.
sending these Hydra's bodies splashing to the far sides of the cave. It jumps up in the air and just screams, "You messed up, chumps!"
Nice.
Oh my god.
Roll for initiative.
This is amazing.
I am so hyped about this.
I cannot tell you how hard my heart was beating with this dumb trick I've been like trying to
Just waiting
for the
to
last like 20 minutes.
spring
just
this
like,
dragon
somebody-
bro on us.
Fucking touch one of these hydras so I can reveal that it's dead.
Can
Yes.
Trill, since she was doing that performance check to aid Mag, roll performance?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Can
I'm rolling
Mag roll?
stealth. I don't care what you say.
Can Mag roll athletics?
Yes, Mag can roll athletics.
Oh, you're such a nice GM.
Zoe, I'll let you do stealth. You're stealthily trying to feel around. I think that makes sense.
So what if it blew up in my face and might kill us all?
Well, there's something I want to tell you. Isthan managed to get a sense of what was happening before any of the rest of you as we enter into round 1. Why do you think Isthan was so on top of it, Armat?
I think he was just in the right place, sort of. He wasn't focused on any one task. Like Mag was swimming, Aya was focusing on her mage hand, Trill was playing. And so he's just kind of hanging out and scoping out the whole scene. And as such, the movement gave him enough reaction time for the first time in a really long time.
Okay. David, I just got a note from you saying that your initiative roll should have been a 34.
Yeah, I initially rolled perception, and then I re-rolled it with athletics, and I rolled a 34.
Okay, that means I was wrong. It wasn't Isthan
Yep.
that saw what was going on first. It was Mag.
So it did trigger a reactive strike. There we go.
Okay, so that means that Mag is able to leap into action before this creature is able to take any sort of hostile action against you. That means Mag is first up in round 1 with a initiative of 34. I need you, Mag, at the beginning of your turn to make this will save, as there's a strange aura pouring off of this creature's body.
29 to save.
29 is a success, meaning that for a moment you feel your body getting heavier, but then everything sort of evens out for you. You manage to get control of your swimming ability. David, I want to tell you some stuff, if I can.
Yeah. Talk to
You're swimming. If you don't swim every round, just like with flying, you will start to sink. That's all I want to say right now.
Okay. Well, good news. I'm going to swim because in order to get into striking range of this thing where it has popped up, I need to swim at least 5 feet. Get next to it. So that settles that. And I think Mag, I'm going to hold off on raging for a round and instead use the last 2 actions to try a knockdown on this thing.
If I may tell you one more thing about swimming,
Yes.
you cannot be knocked prone while in the water.
Ah. So even if it worked, I wouldn't actually be able to do anything to knock this thing prone. Got it.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
still swimming, basically.
Boo. All right, then in that case, I will go ahead and rage. And then I'll use my last action to make an initial melee strike
Okay.
with the Earthbreaker.
Let's see what happens.
Uh-oh.
Ooh. That is just a 24 to hit. That is not going to do it.
That is not going to do it. So Mag swims up, rages, and swings and misses at the Sarglagon. And it is now the Sarglagon's turn. The first thing it is going to do is it is going to fly 20 feet up in the air, spreading wings and flying straight upwards.
Does that trigger a reactive strike?
It sure does.
Here is that reactive strike. Ah, it's an even worse roll. Never mind.
Okay. Then it starts to cast a spell.
No.
It starts chanting like Rangadom, and it flaps its weird arms around. You see these bizarre tentacles flailing on the end of this devil's arms as it moves around in this unnerving way. And then you hear just the sound of rushing water filling the room as the level of the water raises 10 feet, plunging all of you underwater. And we will pick up from there next time.
Rude.
The only one prepared.
You're so pleased with yourself, though. You got to get us with that guy. You're going to drown us. Look at you.
Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy, using trademarks and copyrights owned by Paizo that are covered under that policy. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way, and we are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. All original characters and content in the Roots of Ruin are the property of Tabletop Gold, and all rights are reserved. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. On our website, tabletopgold.com, you can learn more about us and our shows, pick up great merch, and connect to the best online community in all of podcasting. Thanks for listening.